Now let's take a look at what we can expect from President Trump on foreign policy. For that, we want to bring in Richard Haass, the President Emeritus of the Council on Foreign Relations and Senior Counsel of Centerview Partners. Richard, thank you so much for joining us. On the debate stage, Trump refused to directly answer the question about whether he wants Ukraine to win the war against Russia, saying, quote, "I want the war to stop," end quote. What do you anticipate Trump's victory could mean for this conflict?
Well, it all depends upon what we mean by winning. There's people like me who say it's unrealistic for Ukraine to militarily liberate the 20% or so of its territory that Russia is occupying. But the real question facing Donald Trump is really two. One, will he support continued military aid for Ukraine? And secondly, what sort of a diplomatic settlement will he try to impose or support? What is he going to demand of Russia and not simply of Ukraine? A lot's at stake there, a lot's at stake in terms of European security, a lot's at stake around the world because people like in Taiwan and China will be watching whether the United States stands by Ukraine, stands up to Vladimir Putin. So there's just big question marks there.
Former President Trump had a testy relationship with NATO in his first term and has suggested that it needs restructuring. NATO Secretary General congratulated Trump on his victory this morning. Do you think President Trump will continue to question alliances like NATO?
Look, Donald Trump talks about America first, whereas Joe Biden is alliance first. So, yeah, I think there are real questions about alliances. He feels in some cases with some case that the allies are not always spending or enough money on defense. Fair enough. But again, the difficulty is in his first go-around as president with allies raised fundamental questions about American dependability and reliability, which is at the core of an alliance. And also he seemed at times almost more comfortable dealing with a Vladimir Putin or with the leadership of China or North Korea. So what you're seeing now is the European allies trying to meet the new president, the president-elect, halfway, but they're uneasy. This has been the cornerstone of American foreign policy for what, 3/4 of a century, and there's fundamental questions about it going forward.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was among the first world leaders to congratulate the former president. What do you expect from Trump on the conflict in the Middle East?
Well, again, last time around, he essentially gave the Israelis a pretty free hand, pretty unconditional support. No pressure whatsoever on the Palestinian issue. And my guess is that will probably continue along with the United States hopefully standing by Israel when it has to deal with Iran, both directly and with its proxies. But I think there's real questions about the willingness and the commitment of a Trump presidency to try to bring about some sort of political accommodation between Israel and the Palestinians. But again, Linsey, I think the real immediate question will be, what is the United States prepared to do with Israel to push back against Iran, potentially also against Iran's nuclear program?
Dr. Richard Haass, Senior Counselor of Centerview Partners. Always appreciate the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.